Well, hello, and let's do an unboxing. No, we're going to do a review this time of nothing personal. You might remember I did do an unboxing. Apologies for Tom, but I had to troll him back for trolling us with that epic unboxing video of his. I've managed to get everything in the box, just about. Rulebook, the board, the PDF rulebooks with my handwritten annotations, the various influence discs in their boxes, all the cards sleeved up for the Gangsters, the influence cards, money, neutral tokens, more money, and in here a whole load of extra bits like the rings and the coins and the player boards. The box doesn't quite shut when it's all built like this, however you can get it all in there. So let me just quickly flop the board out and give you a quick run through of how the game works. Okay, so I've got the box open. I've got the neutral tokens, the influence deck, the Gangsters, the Capo, the blackmail coins, the omata or negate tokens, the 3 dice, and the kind of turn tracker markers. Each player has their own board, 5 money, a meeple and influence discs, and each player starts with 4 influence cards. So let's pop the meeples onto the scoring track. Yeah, that's not the best. I recommend lying the guys down. Now you will have the odd occasion where things are kind of like this and you might have to kind of rotate your meeples to get them to fit. It's a little bit of an annoyance, but in game it doesn't come up that often. I think we had 3 occasions where it's a slight irritant. But you're now all ready to go. So the first thing you need to do is, get the right ones. Gangsters, they need to come out. And they need to be placed from the underboss down to the racketeer. And basically you're flipping them over, and in theory you could just flip them over willy-nilly and not worry about what they are. However, we've got a problem here. We've got a knuckle duster and a knuckle duster. They're the same type of gangster, so strictly speaking we can't do that. So let's just shove him across to there. Oh, another knuckle duster. Let's pop him down to there. Oh, another. Oh, we got lots of doubles coming up here. This is. Oh, it's all gone horribly wrong. Oh, there you go. We've now got a card, a knuckle duster, a handgun, and a hat. If I remember correctly, there are proper names for these, which have totally gone from my brain right now. But you need to set it up like that to make sure that people's influence cards can actually be useful and not end up with all just gangsters. With the same icon and therefore cards that can't be used. So the next step is to start deciding who controls who. Now this ring is sort of a first player marker, so what I've actually done when I've played is I've had this for who controls the capo, but also a first player marker, because although the capo is the first player, if someone takes over the capo halfway through a turn, they don't become the first player, but they do become the capo. So I would recommend getting a marker for that if you're having trouble keeping it in your head. You don't really need it, but there you go. But it's a nice little first player marker. So, first player will be me, so I'm going to place a token. Now, normally it's a 3-player game, but for this demo I'm just going to do 2 players. So this guy's gone here because the underboss tends to be the one who replaces the capo. I'm making sure I reinforce the capo. He's going for a much better strategy than me, so because of that I'm going to go here. So he's a little bit worried now, so he will also go there to try and stop me having the influence. The problem is I am the capo, and capo breaks ties, so he can look here and say, well, I'll make that me, and that's a strategy that works really well. So you do that until every single player has placed 3 of these influence markers. And you do that one at a time, as I just did then. So you're now ready to start playing. So the first thing you do is you play your influence cards. When you've done that, you take the token, you move it down, you resolve the gangsters, then you draw influence cards, buy cards, arrest gangsters, fill any vacant jobs because people have died or been arrested, and then it goes to here and it stays here. You get to 5 turns, the game is over. So, playing an influence card, let's have a look. Okay, this is quite a nice one. I want control of this guy, so I can place 4 influence cards. So I decide to do that. So I place my 4 influence. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I've got to put them all on this guy. So I've now got 5 influence on this guy here. So I'm pretty secure on the Racketeer. The next guy, let's randomly put a 1 here. 2 influence on any gangster. Okay, so he wants to be the Capo, so he's going to try and take the Capo off me. But I'm still the Capo. Let me get that ring back. I'm still the Capo, so that's no good. But maybe I bribe another player. I say, look, I'll give you $2 to contest this guy. Or I might say, tell you, I'll give you $2 not to place here. So, you know, that's something you can do. Anyway, it goes round till everyone's played an influence. We then go into the ante stage where when you play a card you can choose to do an ante. So I'm going to do that. So I've got this card here. Allows me to put 2 influence on the bean counter and 2 on any thug. So I put it on the, what did I say, the bean counter, and then 2 on any thug. Now if I remember correctly, the thug is the knuckle duster icon. So yeah, let me steal control of the counsellor from him. That's great. That worked out really well for me. Now, I don't really want anyone else to play any cards this turn, so I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to make the ante $3. So anyone wanting to play a card now is going to have to pay $3. So they're going to have problems. It will go round. People can raise the ante. So maybe the next player places 4, and let's say they place 2 counters on any guy with a gun. So they take the Capo off me, and they're now the first player for the next turn. The ante goes back to the bank. Oops, and now we move on to resolve gangsters. So the first thing we do is we generate respect and money from the Capo down. So as you can see, this Capo is going to generate 7 respect and 7 money. Who controls it? The grey player. So they get 7 money, 7 respect, and they're now quite wealthy. These guys are going to do nothing. Oops, and we forgot to put out the associates, the goons who are doing nothing, and who are the only people, rather interestingly, who can be promoted to the bean counter. So okay, we've all got our money, we've all got our respect, we're all done there. So the next thing we're going to do is we'll resolve powers. Now powers come from the bottom up, so nothing, nothing, nothing. We then draw influence cards. Now I've got control of 1, 2, 3, 4 gangsters, so I will draw a mere 2 cards. This player, he's got control of 1 gangster, so because he's only got 1, he'll draw 3 cards. So with the 1 card he drew from earlier, he's also on a very strong position now because he's got 4 cards to use against me next turn. We then check for arresting, so we count up these influence counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now 9 in a 3-player game means the Capo's drawn the attention of the feds, so that money goes, tokens, goes back to the grey player. He's been arrested, so he goes off to prison. People in prison can come back via cards. People are dead. So I'm the underboss, so I decide who to promote. So I'm going to promote the counsellor. We then look here and go, oh, who's going to promote the bean counter? Well, the Capo decides that. I'm the Capo, so I will promote, let's say, the Racketeer. The Racketeer is appointed by the underboss. Well, I control the underboss, so I'll bring him across. And then looking at my hand of my influence tokens, I realise I'm very good with guns and gamblers. So I'm going to promote one of these gamblers, and we flip a new gambler. And here's one of these double card guys. Okay, so that's done. That's the next phase filling job, and that's a turn. So as you can see, play your influence, resolve your gangsters, draw your cards. You can also buy cards, which I forgot to mention, arrest gangsters, fill your jobs, end turn. And that's it. You just keep doing that over and over again, and at the end of the game you work out who's won. Now what makes this game work is looking ahead to see all the promotions. So you've got to be very good at keeping an eye on all these little arrows where people can be promoted to. You've got to keep an eye on these influence tokens, making sure they don't get so high that you get arrested, and maybe put them quite high so people think you're going to get arrested, then play an influence card and swap things around. Now what makes it very interesting is there are actually powers that you can use which are on your playing board here. So you can pay $10 to sell to get any dice to be re-rolled. You can sell any card at any time for $8. You have to pay 10 extra to whack someone, and any gangster who attempts a move gets a neutral influence. Now, what you can do, let's say a bit later on in the game, the counters have moved around a bit, and let's say down here, this guy can pay $10 to whack someone. So basically he pays $10, he rolls his red dice, he successfully rolled the red dice. So he has successfully whacked one of my guys. So he's dead. He goes and sleeps with the fishes. Now, unfortunately, that's probably going to get me promoted. However, a bit later on, the counsellor has now been controlled by the grey player, so he can choose to make a move on the underboss. So the underboss, the Capo even, he has a total of 9, the counsellor has a total of 7, so I just need to roll 2 or more on this dice. Well, I've rolled the Capo ring, so when I make the Capo ring, I've successfully made a move. So the Capo is replaced by the counsellor. Now when you're making moves and whacking people, that has an impact on your influence. So it can be a bit dangerous, because if you get it wrong you can lose a gangster, because you can actually roll a dagger when you're whacking someone and kill yourself, and that loses you 4 respect. However, if you fail to make a move, you don't necessarily lose the gangster, but you do lose 4 respect. Of course, there is also a dagger on here, so it can be very dangerous. Okay, so what do I think of the game? Well, I think the production standard is great. I think the artwork on these cards is fabulous. Now, some people don't like it, I guess, because people's tastes differ, but most people who've seen the artwork think it's fabulous. I think the board, yeah, it's pretty good. There's enough information there for you to be able to read stuff, but not so much that it confuses you. I do find the scoring track a bit tricksy. It goes from 0 to 9, back to 10, all the way up to 39, then comes across here to 40, and is a little bit small, so that's something maybe for a second printing they could amend. For example, this respect bit here could be got rid of, and the score track made a little bit bigger so that these meeples aren't too wide to fit in a space. They could also do with being at least double thick. I tend to find it's very rare you get more than 2 people on a track in a 4-player game, but maybe that was just our game. It could do with being a little bit bigger. The actual flow of the game works really well. It's all documented here quite nicely, plus you've got really good information on your sheet, a little summary of making a move and whacking people. And I think if you play this with the right group, it's a great game. What I would say though is if you play it with someone who doesn't like being picked on, or you play it with someone who's overly aggressive and not a very good sport about it, this game maybe isn't for you. However, if you're a fan of negotiation games, maybe even bluffing games, I guess, because you can be bluffing about what you're doing, you can deliberately let someone take the Capo, safe in the knowledge that with all your control down here you're going to suddenly take out the Capo and promote yourself and get huge amounts of victory points. You don't have very long to do it, you've only got 5 turns. I think our 4-player game lasted about 2 hours, but the time flew by, you didn't really notice the time. Really enjoyed the game, looking forward to playing it again. As I say though, I am aware of some players who I know who probably won't like the game for its slightly vindictive nature, and hence the warning on the game box. What I'd also like to try is the alternative characters, but I haven't actually played with all of these guys. We didn't do too many assassinations and moves in our game, mainly due to the fact I did a lot of assassination attempts and kept rolling a cross, which is a failed attempt. So I got to see that symbol a lot in my game. I did assassinate one guy once and roll a dagger, and the other time I think I rolled the double handgun. So I had one success, one self-kill, and 3 failures. The making a move, as I say, I don't think any of us actually ever did it. We were more into killing each other. The other thing I hadn't mentioned is that some influence cards allow you to place these blackmail tokens, which are really annoying actually. So someone had done this. They've now got the option to control what's doing here. Now what you can do with the switch and influence tokens, you can actually take this off and put your own token on to negate it, or alternatively you can remove this, which also removes your blackmail token. Now blackmail is very interesting, and it's quite useful to actually get people to not do what they want to do. It's like, yeah, I will allow you to do that, no I won't let you do that, or I will let you do it if you give me influence cards or money or whatever. The negate icon is particularly annoying. It basically is this guy down here, the second guy. He has this token, he plops it, let's say, on this switch to influence guy. He can now no longer use his power. And unlike a blackmail token, you can't get rid of it, unless there's a card in the influence deck I haven't seen yet. Great little game, fairly simple rules. The rule book's not perfect. Tom is doing his best to answer any questions on that and clarify things. But I had a really great game at the weekend, and as I say, really looking forward to playing it. So my recommendation to you is, if you don't mind a game of backstabbing fun and shenanigans, I would recommend you get this. If you absolutely hate games where you're fighting against each other, you're doing a bit of card draw, well, yeah, maybe you're not going to like this game. Anyway, I hope that's helps you make sense of this game, and combined with my unboxing video, you now hopefully know enough about Nothing Personal to go out and buy it.